So you don't have those Delta women experiences where they just control everything.
I mean, but Delta has been good to me.
That brother sound like that brother
Good.
said Delta.
Look,
I thought he was
good
about
job,
to-
Crystal. Good
Oh,
job.
my
That was a
God.
good job.
Well,
That brother said Delta has been good. He sounded like he was online. All right, I'm Michael Tolbert with Married People's Business with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Shalise Tolbert. Thank you, sir. And we've got some special guests this week. These are first guests of our new season.
No
What?
doubt.
Yes, we have Mayor Eddie Melton and the beautiful First Lady Crystal Melton. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
yes.
Thank you so much.
And you know what, man? I was getting ready for this podcast, and the only thing I could think about was like when Eddie Murphy was on Arsenio Hall when he was with his boy, and they had to like cancel all the guests because he got his boy on. So the mayor is my guy, man. That's my boy. Crystal is
Right.
my sister. So
That's
they just been such a blessing to our family. So we wanted to make sure we had them on.
Yeah, we're gonna act a fool. Get the censor button. Get the censor button ready.
Hey, you don't even need the censor.
No doubt.
So the title of the podcast, Melting the Myths About Marriage and Gary, Indiana. Our lovely city, boy. We love Gary.
That's right.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
How are we going to do this, Mr. Tobe?
Well, you know what? What we wanted to do is we wanted to switch the format up because the Meltons are special people to us. So we just not gonna get a regular old talking head video. You know what I mean? We gonna give some true and false. We gonna give some multiple choice questions because
Like, do I need the number 2 pencil?
you know what? Because if people get the insight of the Meltons like we do, then they'll love. People already love them. They'll love them even more once they find out the nice little gritty details.
Look, you have been known to bring out some things in folks.
Well, I'm an advocate. You know what I mean? I'm an advocate. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through some myths of Gary. Gonna have the mayor dispel that. The first lady's doing some wonderful initiatives around literacy. We're gonna talk about it all and just give the people what they want. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's get started.
All right. So what? We want to start with how about we start with some little true or false stuff?
I
What
like
you think
the true
about
and false.
that?
I like the
So,
true and false. What's your first true and false?
All right. My first true or false question. I ain't trying to get nobody in trouble. Nobody get in trouble, but what I had heard was true or false that Eddie had cried during the movie The Lion King.
No,
True.
That's false.
False.
What? Oh,
It's
you
false.
ain't sensitive.
Yeah.
He's not sensitive. Not like that.
Not that sensitive. No.
And then what had happened was okay. All right.
I felt for him though.
You felt for him?
Yeah, my heart went out.
Your heart, but no tears, no blood, sweat, tears.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Well, it's one of those things where we are always passionate about what we do, and I see Eddie running around here, man. He the hip hop mayor, man. He the cleanest mayor that I know, So I had a feeling that was probably gonna be false. That brother is not gonna cry and shed a tear for too much.
That sounds like some Kappa stuff to me, but I ain't gonna go there.
Right, so
I ain't gonna go there.
exactly.
So what do we got? What other true or false question we got for him? I got one.
Okay.
This is for my brother, Mr. Mayor Eddie Melton. This is for him. So,
Right.
True or false? It is hard living with a Delta woman.
See, he trying to
Man,
look.
that's so-
Crystal done lean to the side.
That's so false, man.
Good answer.
That's
Good
so
answer.
That's false. Do tell, because I got my own Delta stories that I can tell. They your accountant, they your treasurer, they the mother, they the president, they do everything. And when they do everything, they do everything.
Right.
If you understand what I'm
What?
saying.
You better watch your words. Bro.
Yeah.
It's only the middle.
So you
of
don't have those Delta women experiences where they just control everything.
I mean, but Delta has been good to me.
That brother sound like that brother
Good.
said Delta.
Look,
I thought he was
good
about
job,
to-
Crystal. Good
Oh,
job.
my
That was a
God.
good job.
Well, you know how we do.
That brother said Delta has been good. He sounded like he was online. He sounded like he was online, like he was about to break out and say Delta.
You are so extra.
This will be a good one. This will be one for Crystal to answer.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't
Let's see
know
what I
about this
got.
question.
Let's see what I got. All right. So this is multiple choice for you,
Okay.
Crystal. Crystal and Eddie met at A, McDonald's, B, Freaknik,
Oh my!
C, the famous store Tom Alesker while Eddie was shopping for a Steve Harvey suit, or D, church.
Wow. So I've never been to Freaknik, so let's put that out there. But
let's make something clear.
let's make it clear. No videos of me. But it's actually A. As funny as that is. And I wouldn't say that we met necessarily at McDonald's. We were in East Chicago. But that's where I seen him.
Okay.
Oh.
Wasn't, yeah.
Wait,
Was it?
did you hear the tone? She said, "That's why I seen."
Well, it's the truth. That's where I seen him. And then, but we actually met, and had a conversation and met in Indianapolis. That's where, at a Kappa party. Oh, what do you know?
At a Kappa party.
At a Kappa party. So
Okay.
is that accurate,
That's
Mr. Melton?
Exactly.
Okay, well, good. I got to fact check.
Right. Okay.
So when you saw my brother,
Oh Lord.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. New, what was it? It was like a twinkle in his eye or something that just made you say, "That's gonna be my husband."
Well, see, I didn't say all that at first. I just said, I was like, oh, he nice looking. He's, I think back then I was like, oh, he fine in my mind, So, but we just met up down in Indianapolis, and then I don't know, maybe a few weeks after that, he came and picked me up and took me on a date to the movies. And then the rest is history. Been together ever since. So.
That is a beautiful story. So what did you see?
Oh, no, I don't remember. It was the theater's no longer there. Do you remember? It's the one that was across the street from South Lake Mall. Remember, there used to be a theater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll tell you how long, because that was goodness, 03. Yeah, we started dating in 03.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is a beautiful, beautiful story. You don't remember the movie, so that's kind of because you was probably too busy worried about
Wrapped
how
up
to.
in
How
my-
to you,
Was he gazing in my eyes the whole time? Was that what we was doing?
yeah, you was plotting. You was trying to plot. So you wasn't even worried about the movie. Is that true, brother Mayor?
I would
Mel?
agree with you, man. What I forget about that part is that I was still in Kentucky. Well, I was like in transition coming back from Kentucky State. So there was a lot going on during that period.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would imagine it was. So, why don't you tell us, what? I know you went to Kentucky State. That's where you pledged Kappa Alpha Psi as well, and but you ultimately finished your education here locally. Was it at Calumet College?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was that transition like? Like what what was it like, and what made you come back home?
Oh, I don't know if that's the podcast. Yeah, well, I think we're past statute of limitations, I think. But, no, let's just say you could take the boy out of Gary, but you couldn't take Gary out the boy, right?
Yeah.
And so many people that I knew was like, why are you going back home? One of the other reasons was like I wanted to help support my mother. My stepfather was sick at that time, right? Then, of course, we met Crystal, so it was like I had an added incentive to come back home, right?
Look at that. Okay. So then, you know what? That takes me to the question. Okay, we all be like, we from the G, but so overall, I know you from Hammond. You next door.
That's right.
So tell us about your background. You Hammond High, go Gavitt. Which one?
Go Gavitt. I'm a gladiator.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
Gavitt. Yes.
But you were
Born
a
and raised.
cheerleader.
I was a pom. I was a dancer.
Sorry.
But I was a cheerleader in middle school, and then a dancer in high school.
Okay.
So
All right.
Yeah.
So you went on Northwestern.
I did. I went on to
Yes.
Northwestern. I pledged Delta Theta Alpha chapter while I was there.
Come on now.
Spring 03.
What was your line number?
Oh, I'm a Trey Club.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah,
No doubt.
I'm just saying it's, and I'm a Trey Club. So
Yeah. What is it about y'all trade clubs? God.
Go ahead. Preach to him, Crystal.
I don't know. We're just a full package. We have it all. Honestly, we have it all. It's the personality, it's the fire.
Okay.
We pretty much have it all. Yeah.
I love y'all, but it's something y'all them trades just be all extra. I don't know what it is.
Now, what number are you, Soror?
I am a 6 and I was the 10.
Well, look, they're divisible by 3. Eddie's a 9.
I'm a
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is wonderful.
Well, I'll take that. I'll
Okay.
take that.
All right.
So, all right. So then y'all meet in 2003, you said?
2003.
Eddie's incentivized to come on back to the area. 'Cause
I like
he
that.
lives,
Incentivized.
You know?
It was a good package deal.
That's what it sounds like.
So then I guess I want to go back then to maybe some of our true or false thoughts or multiple choice questions. Because I think I had one on here or that I thought about. Maybe it wasn't necessarily true or false or anything like that, but your personalities. When you talk about who is like the aggressive person or the sensitive person or disciplinarian, how do you each categorize yourself when it comes to your business relationship, your family relationship? How do you see one another?
I'll let you take a stab first.
I knew he was going to do that. So Eddie, I would say, is more, what's the word I'm looking for? He kind of, I'm a planner.
Okay.
Is that fair? Okay. So I'm a planner. So I plan everything, the trips, and I'm very detailed and type A, just, very organized as far as that's concerned. Eddie sometimes could be more spontaneous, and so he may say, oh, let's go to Miami tomorrow. I'm like, wait, tomorrow? So I got to try to hurry up and get it all together, so I think I'm kind of the planner in the family. I feel like personality wise, I'm probably a little bit more sensitive than he is. I would definitely say that. I'm not super sensitive, but I would say when you're comparing the two, I'm a little bit more sensitive. I feel like personality wise, I feel like we're kind of similar as far as we're pretty even kind of personalities, right? You probably have never seen me too rowdy or too, you know what I mean? So I think as far as personality wise, I think we're very much the same. Very still social. We're kind of more introverted, really, but at the same time we love people, so we kind of mix with people very well. But those are just some of my thoughts with our personality and how we operate.
I would agree. I think with the people piece, I don't like peopling. That makes sense, Mike?
It does make perfect. It makes perfect
Totally
sense.
understand
Yeah, I got you.
It's only so much, so many events and stuff like that where you have to, it's like, I don't want to say put on a front or a show, because I try to be sincere in everything I'm doing. But at every event, you're thinking about the next major decision, next move you have to make. So you juggling a lot in your mind. So, but the spontaneity that Crystal mentioned is when I travel, I don't have to know all of the details. I just know when I land, I'll get a rental car. I might not. I might get an Uber.
Right.
I'll decide that when I get there.
Right.
It
is good to be spontaneous because
Yeah.
that's what keeps us live. Spontaneity is what keeps marriages working. That's what keeps our businesses going. So it's good to have a mix, because I think in our probably I would say in our marriage, I'm probably it's the same. I think Shalise is the planner. I'm the spontaneous. I'm the one that has the big ideas. I dream big. So
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, yo, I want to make I want to build a movie theater. I'm like, I might not know how to do it.
Right.
And so then I'm like, okay, how to build a movie theater.
That's me. We're
Step
gonna
one.
research. Yes.
All right, buy some land.
Right.
Step 2, find an architect.
I'm like details, smeetails.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But that's what's so beautiful about marriage is that the husbands and wives, they complement each other.
Yeah.
And when they complement each other like you two do, then you can do some wonderful and awesome things, which you have done, which is what I want to talk about, because both of you have exemplary careers. You know, Crystal, highly educated from Northwestern, worked at NIPSCO, just an adjunct professor. You have so many wonderful attributes that make you a great partner for Eddie. And Eddie is his own, boss. He's the mayor of our great city, Gary, Indiana. Was a state senator, moving and shaking all across the state and really across the nation. And you two exemplify what people use the term power couple very loosely, I think, a lot of times.
Yeah.
But you two really exemplify what it means to be a power couple. So my question is, with all this powernism, I always make up words.
He really does. I'll be like,
with all this powernism that happens, then I would imagine that you two never ever argue.
You know what?
True or false? That's a true
we
or
have
false.
a lot of disagreements, but I don't like to argue.
I can see that.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not my personality. It's like, all right, let's figure it out. Let's make a decision. Let's keep it moving. Right.
okay.
Right. I can definitely see that in both of you, because in order to have a power relationship work, then you can't get caught in the details and the little bickering that goes back and forth. So
Now they cut both ways though.
yeah.
Because sometimes when you don't engage, then things get suppressed.
That's true.
Right. So I'm not saying it's the perfect methodology, but I think that's just been my personality for some years.
So I would say that would be debunking a myth in terms of, because people automatically think that when you're married that you ultimately have to have arguments and strife. So I can tell you, you're the very first couple that has come on our show that has given that perspective. So can you share to our listeners and viewers, how do you get to that? Because that's a very high level in a relationship to get to, where you're able to move into a space where you are accomplishing a lot of things, and it doesn't appear that there's a lot of problems to get there, a lot of bickering. So that's something that I need to learn and bottle up whatever it is that y'all got. So what do you got? What would you tell our audience?
I mean, marriage is compromise, right? When you realize that you have somebody in your life that for rich or poor, all of that comes with those vows is compromising throughout that entire process. Now, some compromising is easier than others, but even with the difficult ones, you're like, hey, you just got to make it work.
Well, that's what Crystal saw at McDonald's. You see all that wisdom that brother dropped it. She said, I want a Big Mac.
Hey, I want a Big Mac.
Give me that number 4.
That number 9.
That number 9, exactly.
Orange high C.
Orange high C used to be the bomb.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Y'all are wild. What's our Gary myth? We want to throw a Gary myth out there that we can see if we could debunk. That people say things about Gary. What are some of the things that I would say that you two have heard about the great city of Gary that is just absolutely not true, that you want our viewers and listeners to know?
I'll start. So I think that a lot of what I've heard about our schools in particular, they almost picture it, or the stories like it's just kids are just acting wild, and there's the schools are just terrible. And from someone who has just visited almost every school, I have a couple more to get to next week. That is so false. Every school that I went in, the children were very respectful. They're in their learning, instruction. And don't get me wrong. It's school, and you're going to have a student have a bad day, right? That's just reality. But sometimes I think they try to make it seem like our schools, there's stuff that is happening that's really not happening. You know, I don't think we talk enough about all the great things we do have from a STEM perspective. You know, I just took part of the ribbon cutting ceremony at Westside. They have a brand new library that's absolutely beautiful, that has its own podcast studio and has its own maker space with all these 3D printers. They can make trophies. They can make, I mean, there's just, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So, but we don't talk about that. Like, you don't read about it. No one talks about it. You go into the Career Center. I was blown away. I had no clue that all of the things that were taking place in the Career Center. I mean, I think you think of like nursing or cosmetology, but I mean the mechanics behind it and the like the airplanes and the just everything that they have in there. And I mean, it's like real life stuff. Like, I mean, I'm watching them literally do starters and this and that in the garage, the mechanics. We offer so much. I went to Bethune, for example, and, you know, it's the preschool. I mean, they started their own garden and they're growing their own vegetables. But again, we don't talk about that. And we have several STEM schools here that have their maker spaces and they're doing really great things. But we just don't talk. You don't hear that narrative. You don't hear that. You know, it's just, and I'm like, man, I don't think our kids' schools have some of the things that, you know what I mean? So this is like next level stuff. And they're at the Career Center, they are starting this, they have their print room that they're going to be able, they can print books. They can do it all. Like, it's like very high tech. It's amazing what they have there and the abilities they're going to have there. And I just feel like we don't really either tap into those resources that we have, and we don't tell our story very well, because if you go and look at these schools and see what they're doing, I guarantee you would be amazed and like stunned what's happening. So I would say from an education perspective, that's definitely something I want to debunk, and I have some thoughts on how we can really tell our story better and what's happening with our schools, with our scholars, all of the great work that they're doing and all the great work that our educators are doing. I have some ideas on that, because we have to do a better job telling our story.
I definitely thank you for pointing that out. That is something that really makes a difference in putting it out there, because we do only see the negative when it comes to our school system.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And I would echo to say that you are probably the most visible first lady that I have seen, particularly in our area, talk about something like this. So I give kudos to you and the mayor for really shining a light on these initiatives, and we look forward to seeing what you have in store for us. So
thank you. And I've heard a lot too that, you know, as I'm going into all these spaces, they're like, no one's ever come in here before. No one. They're like, this is, you know, and it's eye-opening to me. You know, they're just very grateful that we care about what they're doing, and we want to partner with our educators and with our schools, you know, to increase literacy rates and things of that nature. So, so I hear it a lot. That this is the first time anyone's ever come into our school. So,
Mayor, did you want to talk about something, debunk the myth?
Catalog.
I bet.
Yes. Spending so much time down in Indianapolis, you know, Indianapolis just had Gary pegged as some type of corrupt part of the state, and or when you ride around, people around the region had pegged us as a dump site, right? So what we've been able to debunk downstate is that you have competent leadership, you have leadership that's ethical, leadership that wants to do the right thing, and that has really, we're starting to see the fruits of that labor, because I don't think we've seen this much state resources come through in a mighty long time, right? So I think it's proof and evidence in the investment we're getting ready to have in downtown. I think it's proof and evidence with the opening of the new train station in Miller, the new funding for the new train station that we're going to build in the next couple of years downtown in place of the metro station. I mean, the amount of federal funding that's coming, we're just changing that narrative, right? And giving hope to folks with the resources that there's leadership, not just myself, right? We're talking about the council, we're talking about county council, county commissioners, state legislators, that folks care about the city, we want the right thing to happen. But that the other myth is that Gary is a dump site. Yeah, for some people, because for years, because we had a shrinking population, there are parts of the city that is rarely occupied or lived in. And it's starting to harbor those criminal activities of people seeing space and room to dump their trash. And most of the times, as we're catching folks, and we've caught some folks, and we're gonna put somebody on blast in a little bit in the media, they don't even live here.
Wow. Wow.
They live in the surrounding region or in Illinois, and they're dumping their couches, the mattresses, drywall, shingles, those things right there. So now we're getting state resources to catch them. Cameras, fencing, lighting in high profile areas. But we had to debunk that myths, and that's why we're doing the Think Big, which is BIG stands for Beauty and Gary. It's sort of cleaning up every weekend. People are like, you can't sustain that. Listen, every weekend since we've been in office, we've had volunteers coming out, cleaning up either main thoroughfares or streets, cleaning up vacant lots, abandoned lots. But that's because people want to see change happen, right? And I think we're growing that. We want more and more people to come out. Shout out to Markel Watkins and everybody in our general service department that has Nate George, who leads Public Works, Mike Suggs, who's our chief operating officer, that putting that process in place. We've only been in office 5 months. It feels like it's been 2 years already. But we're working every single day. Crystal will tell you, like, my mind is always running. It's always running to figure out how we can do better, be better, become better, and think big.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you are who you are, and that's why you're the mayor of the great city of Gary, and I'm proud to be a part of helping you and Crystal restore Gary and bring it back to its rightful place. So you guys are doing a wonderful job. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. That was very mayoral,
right?
You know what I mean? That's very. I heard the Star Spangled Banner playing in the background. You know what I mean? So now we gotta lighten the mood a little bit.
All right, what you got? I'm a music person. We were at the Legends of Hip Hop last night. What's on y'all playlist?
Now, see, I'll let you go because I don't listen to music quite as much as you do.
I might be listening to Fred Hammond one day, and that might be, wow. From a hip hop perspective, it's maybe? From Nipsey Hussle to Jay-Z. Not so much lately. He hasn't put anything. I'm listening to some old Jay-Z, like Reasonable Doubt, things like that.
Okay.
I don't really get with the new rap music. I don't even call it hip hop.
You don't get with that.
No, not at all. Yeah. Anyway, more neo soul type artists.
Okay.
Right. So you might get a mixture.
Okay. Yeah. So he's the word eclectic. He got that eclectic.
No. Look, I just saw a term on Instagram.
Okay. Share. Give us. I'm always looking to add to my vocabulary list.
Polyamorous.
Polyamorous.
When you like a lot of different genres. Polyamorous. So that's me. That's me.
We'll add that.
I will listen to rock, pop, hip hop, soul, jazz, Christian, gospel, whatever the mood brings, sometimes classical.
Okay. All right.
So, polyamorous.
That's good. Okay, we got true or false. And we got a couple of more true and false, and we're gonna let the Meltons off the hook so they can enjoy their Memorial Day weekend. Because I know they probably got some barbecue plans somewhere. Okay, so who we got? So I got a question. This is another City of Gary question that I think America probably feels. So, true or false? Gary has an international airport.
Yeah, it's true.
True.
Yep.
Okay, and you know what? I wish I could take credit for staging the podcast the way that we did, because you're hearing trains in the background.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right.
We hear trains in the background, airplanes, and
Planes, trains,
bicycles,
automobiles.
and all kind of stuff. That wasn't intentional, but I think it does highlight some of Gary's many assets that I believe that your administration will likely capitalize on in order to revitalize the city of Gary. Can you talk about that a little bit in terms of how rail, air, lake, how all of those things intersect and will help Gary kind of revitalize itself?
I mean, not many cities have the assets that we have, that infrastructure. I think how we were designed and laid out, formatted, we're rivaling other cities like a San Francisco or New York by having a port, by having an international airport, all which have a foreign trade zone, which is huge, right? I mean, you can bring shipments and goods from all around the world through Gary because of the federal government and the compact that we have. And a lot of folks don't realize that because we have that relationship with Chicago, and that's a formal compact that we have with the Gary Chicago International Airport, which hopefully in the conversations I'm having with Mayor Brandon Johnson, it'll yield more fruit in the future. 8094, I-90, I-65, all of those major highways where goods, commerce, rail, all of that is flowing through this city. And we're trying to figure out how do we maximize it without compromising neighborhoods and building up city amenities for individuals to enjoy. That's why that footprint of Buffington Harbor, that industrial area, is where we're going to spend a lot of our efforts to build up as a logistics hub for North America. And I'm not playing when I say that, because we really had a capacity of undeveloped land by U.S. Steel and all of those assets to really make it an economic engine and driver for jobs and economic growth.
That's a wonderful vision and plan, and thank you for sharing that with us. So, Crystal, you are just, have so much going on. I looked at your website. You want to share your website for the people that are listening?
Sure. My website is crystalmelton.com. And I started the website for a couple of reasons. One, I would have a lot of people reach out to me on social media, and they'll try to DM me, but we're not friends, so it doesn't pop up, or I don't check DMs like that. And so I figured there would be one way that anyone can contact me, whether it's they have questions about something, they want to invite me, just say their business is having a grand opening, or there's a program or something with the young people, or whatever it may be. I've been asked to speak at different events. And so it's a very organized way for someone to be able to reach out and request me to come speak, or ask a question, or to also keep up with what's going on in the city. So, for example, if you look at upcoming events, I've already put out there our first annual citywide back to school fest that'll be taking place in August. So they'll know, kind of if I'm speaking somewhere, if there's some events going on in the city. It gives us another communication point, so we can be visible and we can be transparent and let people know what's going on. So, so I was very, very happy. Shout out to Crystal O'Brien. She did a fantastic job on the website. So,
Yeah, what I liked about the website is it really lays out a lot of what you do, and your accolades as well, because I saw that you got the 2022 Excellence Award, I believe, for online teaching.
Right.
I believe. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it also shows how actively involved you are in terms of your initiatives around literacy and a lot of the things that are going to help just not strengthen Gary, Indiana, but strengthen Northwest Indiana generally, because literacy affects us all. So yeah, so can you share a little bit about your literacy initiative and what you're trying to do?
Sure.
What is the goal?
So the initial goal was to get into the schools, because a lot of times when you're not, it's easy to look, not be a part of and say, oh, I think we need to do this, or I think we need to do that, but I need to go and hear from the people who do the work each and every day. And that's our educators. I need to go and hear from the scholars. And so that's what I've been doing. So I've been taking a lot of notes. I've been learning a lot. And it's not just our public schools. It's our charter schools. It's our faith-based schools. And spending some time in there and learning. And also getting recommendations from them. And so I think they appreciate that. They respect that, because they just want to be heard. And they want someone that will actually listen to them and partner with them. And so that's the first step. And so I'll be finishing that this week coming up. And then after that, it's looking at, where's kind of like the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. Like, what are some of the things that we can do that maybe don't require a lot of dollars off, that we can do to partner and then move the needle a little bit with literacy, or maybe resource for parents, because it's the scholars, but then it's also supporting their families as well. And so that's kind of where I'm kind of looking to come up with some type of initiatives. I also have a First Ladies literacy task force. So when I had the Women's Day event back in March, I had a sign-up sheet for people who are interested to read to the scholars. And so I got over 80 volunteers that, want to go into the schools and help, because what I've learned too, as I went around to the schools, our schools don't have librarians. Like, I had a librarian back when I was, in school. They don't have those, but there are people who want to volunteer to come in, and maybe it's once a week or, multiple times a week. I can't remember what school it is, but there's this one lady, she comes in every day and volunteer. So there's a desire in the community of people who want to come in and volunteer. They just need some structure. And that's what this task force is about. I'm working with Dr. Goods and other administrators to structure and organize it in a way where we'll have those volunteers going into those schools more often to help to read to our young people. So those are some of the things that I'm doing. I think some of the bigger pushes will, take some grant dollars and some funding for sure to do. But I feel like there's some things that we can do that we won't need as much funding, that we can actually get implemented and get going, that will, I think, make a difference for sure.
Well, I definitely have to say I need to get with you or connect you if you haven't already been connected with the Gary Literacy Coalition.
Oh, I have. Yep.
Okay. I'm the vice president. How can I not say that right now?
Yes.
So, all right. So I want to bring it back to the family life. Mm-hmm. So, with all of this that you all are doing, we know y'all got 4 kids.
We do.
Who is the disciplinarian?
I'll let you answer that.
Who buys the ice cream instead of doing what they supposed to do and telling the kids what to do?
It depends on what kid it is.
Okay.
That brother Cole, ain't he? He cold.
He does.
And he got to ask for everything.
That's a different perspective, though, because it might take different parenting styles from each of you for each individual kid. So,
you want to expound a little bit?
I was just gonna say.
I'm not gonna call kids out because you never know when they get old. Like, oh, okay, I see what's going on.
That's true.
But I think depending on what child and what situation, we know who needs to deal with it and how they should deal with it. And
okay,
yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. But we got some really good kids.
Yeah.
That's what God has blessed us with, some really good children that don't give us a lot of problems, right? Mm-hmm. So it might be not cleaning up and little stuff like that around the house that we gotta tighten up on them, but everything else, we've been blessed.
I got a question around, it's really a 2-part question. It's surrounding faith, one, because our first lady, I believe, is what they call PK. She a PK.
I am a PK.
Yeah, she was a preacher's kid, so I got a question that surrounds faith, one, and then the second part of the question deals with friends. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the first question is how involved is faith as part of your marriage and your life? How do you use faith? And for our listeners and viewers, how important is it to make sure that you have a strong scripture, or if that's a word, I made up another word, scripture.
I was like, did he just say scriptural?
faith foundation. How important is it to have a strong foundation in faith when you're married, particularly with what you two are very high profile people? And then the other part of this is, how do you separate the fake from the real? Because, for people like, Shalisa and I, we're not in politics. So we don't have people that's just trying to latch on to us just because we are in a certain position. But you two are very high profile and are very involved. So how do you, what's the litmus test to make sure that you are bringing in the right people and not the wrong people in terms of friendships?
So I'll start off, and then Eddie, you can. So Christ is honestly our foundation. Like, and I know people say that, but I know it to be true. Like, the only reason why we are celebrating 21 years together, 17 years of marriage, is because of Jesus Christ, because of our faith, because of it is honestly our foundation. And prayer, when there's a decision made to enter into politics, for example, or I'm constantly praying. Like, even we're praying together, but I'm always praying to cover Eddie and to cover our children, and praying for our parents, and our family and our friends in the city. So I'm a praying wife. I remember reading The Power of a Praying Wife. Like, I've read it, and I've workbooks, and it takes a lot of prayer, and a lot of listening, a lot of reading the word. We're normal everyday people, and so you get discouraged, you get all those emotions, and so it is the word. It is truly a lamp to my feet and a light into my path. Like, it really is that that I have to go to when making a decision. Like, it doesn't matter if it was when we first bought our first house or our second house or whatever. It was just like, okay, let me take this to God, so I know what direction we need to go. So that's what I'll say about our faith and God being in the true foundation of our marriage. As far as friends or relationships, is discernment for me. Like, that is probably one of the most powerful gifts God gave me, is to discern the heart of people. And so I can, and Eddie knows, I've been like, not that one. I mean, you can, not that one or that one. You can only go here, and some people you like, okay, yeah, their heart is pure, their intentions are pure. And I don't mean they're good people. It's just that, I feel like, that's my job, or, to, let him know, if something, I feel like something is not, a relationship is not right, or, a situation. And so, but yeah, so I would say discernment definitely would be what I use to determine, those folks that may be people that want to, get closer, friendships. And I want to say that we have some amazing friends. Like, I'll speak for myself. And I want to thank you all, because you all are part of that circle. Anything that we do, we calling on the Tolberts. I don't care if we celebrate a birthday or whatever it is that we're doing. We are blessed to have great friends and people around us because of the things that we do. It's a lot, you know what I mean? And so having true, genuine people who just love you. They don't want nothing from you. They just love you, and they want the best for you, and they're praying for you. I don't take that for granted. I have great people, and we have great people around us that really love us. So I just, I thank God for our friendships that we have. Go
ahead. Let me jump on the faith part. I mean, in this job, I've seen miraculous things happen as an elected official. And I believe because of my faith, I've been able to pray things through with other people, right? And I believe that there's a spiritual force that has held Gary down for generations. And the only way for us to overcome that is through faith and through our spiritual connection with God, Christ. That's the only way. I'm gonna be very honest with you. We can have a boatload of money. Streets can be paved with gold, but if the people not respecting this city enough to support it on a continual basis on a state and federal and business level, is unsustainable, right? Unless you have God that's helping to lead and guide your leaders to make it a better city. So that's one part of it. I would say for the real from the fake is scripture, right? Separate your life from chaff and the wheat. When you look at that scripture, when they talk about the wheat from the tare, right? The seeds that were planted that commingle and tangle with the roots of the wheat, the master was like, no, don't pull it up yet. Because if you pull it up, it's gonna pull up the wheat, the good stuff.
That's right.
So it's a timing, even when you know that there's something or someone or some people that are not good for you, on how you cut those ties, because you don't want to disrupt maybe certain cultures or environment until the timing is right. But discernment is a huge part of it, be it if I'm listening to advice or wisdom from Crystal or other friends or associates. But everybody wants something from you at some point at where you are. And as an elected official, you have to discern, okay, this is what I was elected to do, was to serve. But there's a balance in that as well, too, because you have to think about your personal health, well-being, and your family's personal health and well-being, and not overtax yourself in doing so. And a lot of people around me were like, man, you need to go take a break. You need to stay home today, unplug, turn off the phone, email, and just kind of push a hard reset, because I'm human.
Right.
And you can burn out. You burning the candle with both ends is going to be a catastrophe, right?
Yeah.
But I'm used to it, and I love it. I think that's what gets me through it, is my love and passion for the city. And when I am physically worn out and tired, it's my faith that's keeping me like, all right, keeping me going.
That is an excellent word, and I just want to make sure that I commend both of you for your friendship to us, because you guys have always been a friend to us. Yes, I can remember the first time I met Eddie. He probably doesn't remember this, but I met him, I believe it was at Chuck Hughes's retirement party. And he actually spoke at the retirement party.
That. Yeah.
And I remember
that was
seeing
07.
Yeah, and I remember
06, 07.
I remember seeing him and me and him talk. And from that point on, I would always joke with him, and I would tell him, I'd say, "Hey, man, now this is before he was the senator or mayor or anything," and he could probably laugh at this. And you remember what I used to tell you all the time? Hey, man, but when you go to the top, don't forget about the little people.
I remember you saying that for years.
Yeah, so he was always a good brother and just a solid person. And from the time I met you, Crystal, you were the same, and you and Shalise have always been great. So, and you have good, people around you, which I like. I'm gonna give a shout out as much as I hate to do it.
Here we go.
As much as I hate to do this, I might edit it. I might edit this part out.
Stop it.
But
don't do him
Ellis,
like that.
Ellis
and
Gervais, all right. I don't know about Ellis. But the Dumases are great. Ellis and Gervais are great, and they're great friends to you. And the fact that you have solid people like that around you is a testament to, again, discernment and your decision-making skills. So shout out to the Dumases. I'm probably gonna edit that out.
You are so
don't do them like that.
Give them a little something. So, I echo Michael's sentiments as well. But all right. So as we close out, I've got one final question. This isn't really all about City of Gary or y'all marriage or anything. I just think about if I wasn't a lawyer, if this thing didn't work out with the law for me, what would I be doing? And I've come to the conclusion that I could be a Janet Jackson dancer. So, do you guys think about that? What would you do if you weren't doing what you're doing now?
I know I would be helping people.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly in what capacity. But I definitely would be helping people in some way, shape, or form. Like I would definitely be serving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, probably same way. I've always been passionate about mentoring. I mean, since I was an adult, that was kind of like my thing right there. So I would probably go back more full-time mentoring youth, young adults, giving them the skills. Now being able to connect them with relationships. I was so impressed yesterday. Me and my boys, my sons, we went to the grocery store, and I'm walking around the grocery store, and this young man with his mom, you could tell they knew who I was, right? They didn't want to say anything. They walked past me, and I didn't think nothing about it because it happens often. But he came back. He was 15. He said, "Are you the mayor?" I said, "Yeah." He was like, "I just applied for a job at the city." And I was just impressed of his presentation of himself and his confidence he had. He didn't even ask for the job. He just said, "I just want to let you know that I applied for a job and it's a summer youth program." And I was like, that reminded me of the days when I was working with young men and women, trying to help coach them and mentor them into being great leaders.
Well, that is awesome. That is
wonderful,
awesome.
Wonderful.
And you know what? I knew it was going to be just like the Arsenio Hall thing. It went by like butter. It was smooth like butter. And we almost said about 50 minutes, and it didn't even seem like that because you guys are great. So we just want to thank the Meltons for giving us your time on the Married People's Business podcast.
Yes.
You just will never know how many people you will inspire just by sharing your story, your vision, and what you're doing for the city, what you're doing around literacy. So we thank you for allowing your story to be told here on our podcast. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you all for having us.
Appreciate you. Tell them where to subscribe and all the good stuff. All
right. So you can find us on YouTube when you search Married People's Business. Hit that like and subscribe button. Do that. Pass it on and share it. We can be heard in the audio format on any streaming services where you listen to podcasts. So check us out, Married People's Business.
Make sure you keep God first and keep doing your thing. Thank you very much.
Peace.